David Byrne is a musician, and he said that if you fall in love with the music of a place, there's no way you can hate that place. And I feel it's similar with storytelling.
Sometimes you want to tell a story purely, but then you're often told this is not what traditionally works.
And I'm waiting for the Squid Games of India to come out and for the international world to be like, oh, we got to watch out for what India's making.
A warm welcome, everyone. Royal Stag Barrel Select Large Short Films presents Select Films, Select Conversations with the Select Ones. Tonight, we're going to explore the world of cinema, navigating the fascinating landscape of discerning films tailored for an equally discerning audience. Interestingly, the ones who often consume short films happen to have a rather discerning taste. We are joined by three exceptional artists who have left an indelible mark on the canvas of cinema. With her discerning choices like Maharani and Monica Oh My Darling, she never fails to surprise us and leave us in awe. Shout out to the very versatile Huma Qureshi. Next up, one of the select ones, a critic and an audience favorite whose stellar act in Rocket Boys earned him an Emmy nod this year. Put your hands together for none other than Jim Sarbh.
Hey!
Hi, nice to
seen
see
you guys in ages.
Group hug. That's what we do.
Come
Great outfit.
Hey.
You're matching.
Yeah, we're all
Kinda
wearing
like-
suits.
Ah.
Imagine that. Joining us on the panel is yet another extraordinary performer who never ceases to weave magic on screen. From queer love and cerebral palsy in Margarita with a Straw to caregiving and dementia in Goldfish, this Wonder Woman has often taken up the most sensitive roles and won our hearts. Let's hear it for the effervescent and extremely talented Kalki Koechlin.
Yes, look at that.
Hey, we're the suit bunch.
Look like a nice fascist community here. Great.
Hi, Kalki. Come, sit down.
Today, we will unravel the intricacies of a cinematic experience curated through fine storytelling for those who seek substance, meaning, and an unparalleled connection with stories that unfold on both the silver and digital screens alike. Our conversation tonight is a celebration of the artistry that goes beyond the surface, exploring the nuances and choices made by filmmakers and actors in a world where the discerning taste of an audience plays a pivotal role. So without further ado, let's discuss the magic that unfolds when cinema meets the discerning eye. So, guys, when the three of you started your respective careers, was the silver screen, the ultimate goal? Huma.
Yeah, I think so. I started my career in Delhi doing theatre, both Hindi and English, with Act One, which is one of the oldest theatre groups in the country. For us, even then, I think because theatre didn't pay as much, the thing always was that to do enough plays and get another acting experience to take that plunge and to move from Delhi to Bombay and to try and act in a movie. I think that was the big idea, for me at least.
Jim, you're very unconventional. I'm sure you just wanted to say, wherever I act, it doesn't matter. I want to act.
No, not at all.
Oh, not
at all.
that? Okay.
That's also true, but there were no opportunities to go into film directly, for me at least. In Atlanta is now a film town, but when I was studying there, it was not a film town at all. So the biggest opportunities, the biggest next step post-college was acting in plays and being on stage. And so I loved doing that as well.
Kalki?
I mean, I think the reason the destination was the silver screen is because it was sustainable. You needed to make money. You know, we were, a lot of us, doing theater, and I definitely couldn't survive on it. Yes, it was the need to find work that's going to keep bringing you more work. That's where the aspiration to be on the screen came from.
What was your reaction or how did you feel when OTT and the digital platforms came about and suddenly things just opened up in some sense for actors? Suddenly there's a lot of work for anyone who wants to work.
There's been this kind of burst of you know, streaming, online platforms and work. But I also feel it's just as hard to find a good script. It takes just as long to find one that you go, oh my God, this is really good. I think that, you know, the challenge is still in, you know, backing writers, backing good content. And what's happening with OTT now, I feel, is it's getting more and more careful. It's trying to go also into forms of some kind of formula and doing things that worked before.
Yes, okay.
But just to add to what Kalki is saying, I feel like, but compared to when we were doing the transition from theatre to film to whatever, I just feel like today actors have so many more opportunities, right? At that point in time, it was ads or films, right? There was not like you couldn't, like today I feel like there's so many shows.
There was television.
Of course, there was television as well. But I think today there's also streamers have added such a huge dimension to this, and like, you know, content creators of all sorts are springing up every day. So I feel like just the kind of opportunities you have today, and also so much self-reliance. Today, I can just have a camera and have my own YouTube channel and people are monetizing it. And some people are using it also very creatively to tell a lot of stories.
Yeah, and it's a global stage now, in a way. Even theatrical films find their way to a streaming platform and can be enjoyed in countries that the release hasn't happened there. So that's what heartens me the most about the streaming revolution in general, is that it allows us to experience different cultures and hyper-local stories from particular places. David Byrne is a musician, and he said that if you fall in love with the music of a place, there's no way you can hate that place. There's no way you can then not be interested in the people of that place. And I feel it's similar with storytelling and shows in general. If you fall in love with a certain country's cinema or their streaming option series, then
you want more and you want to know more.
You want to know more. It would be very difficult to hate that place then.
Well, my question now, the next one is to all of you. They say people's attention span is getting, you know, shorter and shorter. But then how do you explain people binge watching shows and the success of films like Oppenheimer? I mean, do you think our audiences are now a little more discerning about quality?
No.
No? The simple answer, no.
I think we just want to be entertained 24/7 and we want to fill in all the gaps. It's so hard to read a book, you know, to pick up a book and read it, because there's always something else to watch and there's always something else to like catch up with on, you know, online. So yeah, I find it's become, we're not allowed to be bored anymore. And that's why this attention span thing is real, you know. We have trouble like listening to a whole conversation without checking our phone in the middle or looking around at what's going on. Yeah.
Where's my phone, by the way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I completely agree with Kalki. I think it's so true. People are just so distracted constantly. People just want to get this high of just being entertained, watching something. Like we are all
empty spaces are filled up with something.
With something. Like all of us are on our phones all the time. Nobody's making conversation. All that is true. But I also feel there's also space to, like, for a lot of people, content creators, you know, to step back and be like, hey, let's try and do something which is a bit more and a bit more immersive.
Are you one of those people, when you watch a show, you say, okay, I'm going to commit to a show now. It better be a good one. I need to have 4 or 5 really good recommendations, and I choose something and I give my time to it. I mean, that's how I consume content. Are you one of those people? And then you single-mindedly finish that show?
It depends on what I'm in the mood for. I mean, there are certain things that I watch while also being on my phone and watching and then going back to my phone if need be. Then there are other things that arrest me and the phone is not there. And I recently watched a movie called Talk to Me. And then I got so I remember because I made myself some tea. And I got under the blankets and I'd sat to watch it. And I remember halfway through the movie, like looking down at the tea that has now gone completely cold, that I've just been holding. I've been gripped by this film for half the film. And then I looked up the directors. Based on their Instagrams and like the stuff that they've put out on YouTube, it would be the stuff that we would say, oh, they're making really short content that, you know, for the attention span lost people.
Yeah.
And it's all just like bite-sized stuff that they'd been putting out on Instagram and YouTube before making this extremely mature and brilliant film. Talking about how short films in general, what it can do, really good ones, what they do is they transport you into a world and into a character almost immediately because they don't have time.
Yes.
It has to happen in the first 30 seconds.
Yes.
Filmmakers doing longer formats learn from that. It'll only be better because you don't need all the preamble. You can just throw me into a world if it's gripping and I'll follow you for the rest of the 1.5 hours or 10
It's got to
hours.
sustain, right?
If you sustain it.
Yes,
You
yes.
have to be able to sustain.
While long-format content is here to stay, the rising popularity of the short film is proof that our viewers are also yearning for that bite-sized, narrative that packs a punch. Now, short films like Tinde, Manoranjan and Devi have had like millions of views, and that's testament to the fact that there is a cinematic shift and people are enjoying, the short format. So we've got your views on it. Let's hear it from you, Huma.
I think short forms have always been popular and will always continue to be popular. There'll always be a space for it. I recently saw a short film called Ghuspaid, and I was just bowled over. Like, how do you make a short film? It's so complex, and they shot the film on like outskirts of Mumbai. He's kind of depicted the Bangladesh border, and it's got Amit Saad and a bunch of like amazing actors, Debu and all. And I was like, how did you recreate this? Because I really felt like I was somewhere on the borders of Bangladesh and India, and it's just pure craft, right? And you don't sometimes need that kind of budget or whatever. For me, and I think for most audiences, always about like, just like drawing you in. Sometimes it could be a character, sometimes it could be a technique, it could be a different style of shooting. I think short films are here to stay.
The Thought of You is a short film you've done for Royal Stag Barrel Select Large Short Films. What drew you to it? What draws you to short films in
Well,
general?
that film was a bunch of friends. I was shooting for Margarita.
Not the crores they gave you, not that.
Yeah, all that money. So it was just like a bunch of friends coming together for no money and making this over a few nights. I think 3-4 nights we shot the whole thing. And again, it's just like, okay, this is just going to be fun. This is an idea. Nobody's here telling us how to do it or what to do it. And we make it. And that's just really, really great to get back to once in a while. I think that sometimes you just need that excitement that you get in a short film.
Jim, for an actor, the name of the director, is that important? Because there are lots of young, inexperienced directors who want to start with shorts, and there are very, very experienced directors, on the other hand, who also want to, dabble in shorts. I mean, even the great Satyajit Ray made a short called Two.
Well, it's important because...
What about a young guy who comes along who's never made anything before but has a fantastic idea and a great script?
Yeah, I think it would depend on the script and the conversation and how he sees the film. And I have worked on quite a few debut directors' films and short films and feature films.
Have they been hit and miss, or have they been hits, or how do you feel about them?
Oh, it depends. Like,
In general.
the Ganj was Coco's first film. Tino Radha was Daria's first film. Rocket Boys was Abhay's first project. There are actually quite a few. It's not that I would never do it, not at all. But I think I'd be a bit warier now of a first-time director, only because there have been a couple short films and other projects that I've done where it's kind of gone nowhere, or the work that you've put in, eventually nobody really gets to see.
Counts for nothing, yeah.
Or you're getting the feeling on set that, I'm not going to enjoy the final product, which can be disheartening if it's a longish schedule. So the name, of course, does matter.
Kalki, there was a time when there'd be cinema from, Hindi cinema and cinema from the South, and, there were huge language barriers. but even now in short films. In fact, Royal Stag, Barrel Select, large short films has got some success in Malayalam films and Bengali films and Assamese films. So do you think the language barriers are breaking down?
No, I think that what's wonderful is that, yeah, we can watch stuff that before you'd only have to go to like a film festival to watch. And now you can watch it on your phones. I loved stuff like I saw Veerappan, the documentary, and I wouldn't have seen that if it hadn't come out on a OTT platform. Same with Angamali Diaries. But, you know, for an ordinary public, they wouldn't have gotten to see that otherwise. So, yeah, it's great. And I'm waiting for the Squid Games of India to come out and for the international world to be like, oh, we got to watch out for what India's making.
Yeah.
I think we're very close to that.
I think it's happening.
Is it happening? I mean, I don't know. Can you give an example?
I think Made in Heaven, I think Sacred Games started it, and then there's Made in Heaven, and then there's Delhi Crime.
I think we're being very generous.
It hasn't reached Squid Game level.
Yeah, like it's not like you can really talk about it anywhere you go, you know. But yes, I do hear you. Like I do feel that has started happening, but I feel like it can go even further.
When I was in LA 2 years ago, the only thing that anybody had seen that I was in was Made in Heaven. Yeah.
Made in Heaven, same.
Huma, has digital cinema helped directors discuss themes that otherwise would, not be made, not be discussed because of, maybe the box office? Or would Ahilya and Maharani have been made for the box office, for example?
I mean, they should be made, if you ask me, because they're both great stories and by great makers. But no, sometimes I feel like what happens there's a certain wisdom, theatrical wisdom, that comes along with the release of a film. Ye chalta hai, ye nahi chalta hai. Sometimes you want to tell a story purely, but then you're often told by various market forces that this is not what traditionally works, which is quite baffling because more often than not, we've always seen like the clutter breakers really, be the outliers in the theatrical game. But people still like to play safe. People still like to adopt formulas as if that is the only... Because I think it's just about like trying to hedge their bets because there's a lot of money at stake when you're making a film.
Sure.
What happens with an OTT platform, it just makes the whole process quite democratic. So the pressure is not on you as a creator to ensure a return or to get that Friday box office opening. The pressure on you is just to tell a great story. So you can watch a Made in Heaven, Maharani, whatever. I mean, whatever the stuff is on that same platform.
Yes.
And then enjoy it for what it is. And I feel that's amazing, right? Because today you can have the biggest superstar of the country and a kid from like Jharkhand make a film and you can watch it together. And I feel like that just makes like the content so much more democratic.
Kalki, would you say that roles for women on the digital platforms are much more nuanced than they are on film?
I mean, that's debatable. I think we've always had very nuanced films for women, but they've been few and far between. I don't know, Mirch Masala in the 80s, some of Shabana Azmi's films. People have been making really wonderful stories. Yeah, I suppose that today, just the sheer amount of content that we're getting allows for a lot more women to be seen on screen and a lot more women to tell stories from their perspective. And of course, I mean, I've been only working with female directors in the last, I don't remember how many. Like, there's Konkana, there's Zoya, there's Rakhi Sandilya, there's Anu Menon. I mean, I just feel like I've worked with so many women in the last few years. And it's clearly the voice and the gaze of a woman is coming out.
Huma, as a person who writes, do you think a challenge in short films is that, in the writing, is that you have to hook your audience very quickly and a lot is implied already?
Yeah, and that's the point of it, right? Because you don't have the luxury of time, so you have to, like Jim said a while.
Is it harder?
It may be harder, but I think that's the demand of the medium. If that's something you just have to do, you just have a minute or 30 minutes or whatever the duration of your film is to tell me a story. Now, you choose how you want to get to it. But yeah, you have to get to the heart of the matter as soon as you can. You can't like linger on something unless, I guess, there's a payoff, which is why, I think thriller is a great genre for like a short film because like I've seen some great thrillers where I feel like, oh, wow, Of course, there have also been some like nice social ones where, which is again like the skill of the director, where they take you on a journey and with a singular image or a line or something, they create that moment of impact. Like I was working with Deepa Mehta in Laila, and she would often come and be like, "Arey, leave all this." And she's like, "What is the heart of the scene?" And I always remember that. I'm like, because sometimes, we just get so confused with, like, I don't know, different things, but what is it that the scene is really trying to say?
Everybody who's sitting and watching this, they're all cinephiles, they love the movies. So getting a recommendation from each one of you of a must-watch from this year.
Veerappan for me was the most recent that I really enjoyed. Yeah, I think it's an excellent
And you would
documentary.
recommend?
I recommend Veerappan.
Okay.
Trial by Fire.
Is that a recommendation?
Yes, that is. I really enjoyed that.
There's a series I'm watching just now that I'm very excited to get to the end of. It's called The Curse.
It's one where you don't look at your phone.
Yeah. It's called The Curse.
Okay.
You were in local, like...
Local Kora.
Oh, that was a great one too. Yeah, really.
Good choice. Okay, now it's time for a little game. Each of our guests will be given a bag with some quirky and random objects. The challenge is to weave an interesting story that incorporates all the items in their bag. You've got to remember to make it fun, interesting, and short. So some bags are going to come out now, and they're going to be put next to your chair. And when it's your turn, you're going to pull out one item at a time and start your story with that item. Then you pull out the next one and incorporate that item in your story, and another one and another one. So you've understood the rules of the game. Shall I call for the bags? Can we have the bags, please?
Huma ji goes first.
Yes, one at a time.
Okay.
You can't see what
I'm
else
not
is
seeing,
inside.
I'm not
One thing at a time.
Cheater. Is this part of it?
Yeah.
Or this is some other prop that kind of got like...
Start.
So basically, there was a little girl called Rapunzel, and she was trying to comb her hair, but then a pigeon flew in and she killed the pigeon with this brush.
Okay.
Impactful.
Continue the story.
Let's go one
No,
by one.
no, it's not one by one.
Oh,
It's
it's the
your
same story. Same story.
Your story, your props. Continue
Same
the story.
story.
Yes, same story. Rapunzel who killed a pigeon.
And then somebody, the butler saw this murder and ran to the police.
The butler saw the murder, ran to the police. Okay, third prop.
And then the butler's wife started crying and howling because she misunderstood. She thought the butler and Rapunzel were having an affair.
Right.
Oof, this is getting steamy.
I know.
There's the pigeon.
Just when you said steamy.
Come on, don't stop. We need your words.
And now Rapunzel's father, who liked to dress up a little bit, decided to do a little item song. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
pot boiler.
One more. There's one more, two
There's
more.
one last one. And dear Rapunzel could not take it anymore. And to drown the boys, she put these on. And she slit her throat.
The end.
Wow.
The end.
I see a career here.
That was fantastic. Oh
Thank
my
you.
God, I would like to see that short film. Come on. Four of us are sitting here. Let's
Okay,
make it
come on.
happen. Okay.
Oh, God.
next?
My apologies. But it was quite a racy one.
Ladies and gentlemen, she's a
Directed by-
published author.
Directed by Sriram Raghavan.
Okay, one at a time. And
Yeah.
your time starts now.
Whoa.
It's a massage.
Oh, it's a massage gun. Okay.
Start.
Oh.
It works.
Oh, my.
Words.
Actually, this is very
Words,
distracting.
not phrases. Not oohs and ahs.
It can't be a silent...
No, it's not a silent.
Okay,
story.
so this was lying on a table, and a grandmother, my grandmother, walked in and didn't know exactly what it was. And she immediately went back to her WhatsApp group with all of the other old elderly women in the Bagh, and was sending pictures being like, is this what I think it is?
Okay. and all the other ladies in the WhatsApp group.
Of course.
Said,
Immediately blew a whistle saying that it is exactly what you think it is. At which point, the granddaughter said, why don't you look in the mirror a little bit? Because... At which point, the mother was like, you know what? Good riddance. I'm going to focus on myself. I'm going to exercise with this 1 kg weight. And in no time, she had transformed her upper body to such an extent that she was unrecognizable for most of the other people in the area. And they just moved down the road and are living a very happy life, devoid of grandmother. Oh, wow, there could have been a whole, workout. No, that's it. It's the end.
I hope this short film never gets made. I hope.
It's called Kahani Ghar Ghar Ki with a
Raunchy.
twist.
Wow.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, Kalki, let's have yours. We have one published author's very beautiful story. We have one story that should never, ever be made.
This is Prakash, and Prakash lived a precarious life in a small village in South India, where he was one of the few people who believed that he was a Christmas decoration.
Ooh, precarious.
And he used
That was just nutty of him, wasn't it?
Yeah, he used to give a box of nuts to everybody in the village in order to encourage them to, use him as their Christmas decoration. And
So he was
kind of
selling
Pitching himself. He was
Yeah,
pitching himself as
pitching
the
himself.
Christmas decoration.
And one day, a young lady in the village decided to make him a hot cup of coffee to help him with his condition, marketing.
I see what you're doing there.
And after that, he became really, really very much more pleasant to hang out with and funny. And so people started taking photos of him and putting up pictures of him all over the village. And eventually, they all decided that it was worth having him around, and they all wore caps with life because they believed that Prakash deserved a life. And so they gifted him a Keep Calm and Make a List notebook in which they were able to let him be the person that he was, which was a teddy bear.
What can I say? Big round of applause for all of you. That was just so beautiful.
Terrible, all of us.
Yeah.
Really awful.
Very, very creative. Major props to all three of them for weaving such interesting stories in such a short span of time. Thank you for that. Well, thank you very much for the stories. Thank you very much for, sharing your thoughts and insights. Enjoyable as always. So keep watching good movies and appreciating the diverse world of cinema. This is Mandira signing off.